The morning air was cool when I stepped outside, expecting nothing more than a normal start to my day. But lying against my front door, fluttering lightly in the breeze, was a white envelope. Bold red letters across the front read, HOA violation urgent. I frowned, confused. I had only returned home late last night after a long road trip. What violation could possibly exist already? I tore the envelope open. Inside was a long printed list. Unauthorized construction, unregistered property usage, excessive noise, suspicious activity on premises. Suspicious activity? I could barely keep my eyes open when I got home. I went straight to bed. At the bottom was a signature. Karen's, written with the same fake authority she tried to carry around with her plastic badge. Irritation rose in my chest, but I forced myself to stay calm as I headed toward the driveway. The moment I reached my truck, my annoyance turned into disbelief. A bright orange sticker was slapped across the windshield. HOA tow notice. Immediate action required. Before I could even process it, the familiar grating voice echoed behind me. "Excuse me, you can't park here. This area is under HOA regulation now." I turned and saw her, Karen, standing proudly with sunglasses, a clipboard, and an attitude that could start a war. She acted like she owned the entire neighborhood, including land that wasn't even part of her HOA. I replied firmly, "Karen, this is my private property." "The HOA has no authority here." She gave a slow, mocking smile. "Oh, you didn't hear? The HOA expanded its boundaries. Everything here falls under us now, even your truck." She snapped her clipboard shut like she had just won something and added, "By the way, our construction team will arrive today. We're expanding the pool." I stared at her, struggling to make sense of the words. The pool, the one she had already built on my land without permission, was being expanded. How far did she think she could push this? Before I could respond, she leaned in slightly, her tone turning colder. "Either follow the HOA rules, or we'll fine you until you can't afford this land anymore." That was it. I met her stare and said, "Karen, this stops now." She smirked, turned on her heel, and walked away with the confidence of someone who believed nothing and no one could challenge her. I headed toward the backyard thinking maybe the worst was over. I was wrong. The sound of shovels hitting the ground reached me before I even turned the corner. When I walked into the yard, I froze. Two men in questionable HOA uniforms were digging into my soil. They had shovels, marking spray, and equipment spread everywhere. But what truly stopped me was the newly placed wooden sign sticking out of the dirt. On it were the words, "Future site of HOA Community Clubhouse." A clubhouse, not a pool expansion, a full building, on my land, without a single word of permission. And that's when I realized Karen wasn't just crossing a line, she was erasing it.